for today's very special episode. I have a dear friend who started as a coworker right across from me, and we're actually in her beautiful boutique right now. I cannot wait to introduce you to the wonderful Jennifer Cofer. So Jennifer, say hello so everybody knows that you are here.
Hi everybody, Jennifer Cofer, BlueBird Nest Organizing and Resale Boutique.
Yes, so Jennifer has quite the story, and some of the things I admire about her you're going to hear shortly. And you will quickly find why she has inspired me and how she will inspire you and help us all to elevate our lives. We're going to talk a little bit about that, but I also want Jennifer to kind of tell her story and how she's utilized her mindset and some of the things to get you to where you are today.
All right, perfect.
So, yeah. But before we jump in, a little history and knowing a little bit about Jennifer, what I first admired when I met you, medical device days, immediately I remember your desk. And I remember, wow, she is so organized. So that was number one. Loved your desk, but most importantly, your wonderful, warm personality.
Thank you.
Yes, and how much you helped me to get going with that company because you had been there quite some time.
Yes.
And Jennifer is a wonderful trainer. So you were one that was so organized with everything that you displayed to me to help me get on board and understand what I was doing.
I love that feedback. Thank you.
And then one other thing that I loved is your story about you and your hubby, Pete.
Oh,
so we'll talk a little bit about Pete on the podcast too, because you two go hand in hand and are a great power couple. So it's kind of fun to be here. I know that you started in the AirForce back in your early days, your early career days.
Yes, I did.
So tell us a little bit about that, and then we'll jump in.
Sure. I'm very, I'll disclose some things here because I'm very upfront with it, and it's even on my website for my business.
Yeah.
I kind of had an unstable childhood, and I felt like things were kind of chaotic around me. One thing that I did to kind of control, to make me feel better was I organized my surroundings. But so that's kind of where my organizing kind of stemmed from. Yeah. But I had actually lived on my own from the age of 14 through high school. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. When it came time to graduate, I had the choice to either go to college at the University of Minnesota Duluth or join the military. And I opted for the military route because I just wanted bigger and better things for myself. Yeah. I went into the AirForce just because like I said, I just really wanted something better for myself, and they were going to give me, money for college and education, housing, just things like that. And I was like, where do I sign up?
And you became, you were a surgical tech, I remember.
Exactly.
Okay, which is probably what got your foot into the nursing world, because just a little history, we're both nurses back in the day, so before we got into the medical device world where I met her.
Absolutely.
But so then you did that. You were in the military for quite some time.
Yeah,
at least
I was 4 years.
4 years.
I had the GI Bill for serving my time, and then I used that to go back to nursing school. But I was working in the operating room at the time, right? And I loved it. I'm very organized.
Yes, you will see. So, and we'll talk a little bit about the store. She's a curator through and through, but organized as well. So it's fun how it's all come together for you.
Yes, exactly.
And real quick, I kind of got quickly into her history, but before I say that, where we are now, they've had this store for a good year.
Yes.
And we'll talk about BlueBird Nest Organizing, but that you started 3 years ago in 2020. So she is proof that you can be successful even in a recession.
Yes.
So, but so let's take it back to, so got into the nursing career.
So, went from surgical technologist in the operating room, military, very structured. Operating room, very structured.
Yeah, definitely.
And then I wanted to use my GI Bill, went back to nursing school, graduated. Here in Minnesota, we have the second or third highest concentration of medical device companies.
Yeah, definitely.
So real need for people like yourself and me, to act as liaisons between medical device companies and clinicians, right? So, I was just intrigued. There's always new and better ways of taking care of patients. That's what I want to do. And like you said earlier, I have a passion for training and educating people.
Yeah, she's very good. And you'll see how this plays into her new business. And so let's go into that now. Yeah. So what made you decide I want to make this transition? I know even being at your home, I've always seen how organized and great. You're a great decorator. You always have a very cozy, you make a space feel homey and cozy. But what was it that made you think, I want to start my own company? And then I love the story about the name behind BlueBird Nest Organizing. So you got to talk about that too.
Sure, absolutely. I started down this path not by choice.
Yeah.
Because, when COVID happened, I was working for a startup medical device company in Plymouth. And we were working for very, all over the U.S., very large research institutions, Duke Hospital, Dartmouth. The device was actually for patients with COPD and so interventional pulmonologists, right? So when COVID happened, a lot of things affected my job. There was no elective procedures being done.
Yeah.
So any research procedures, got canceled.
That's kind of even where I was. It wasn't, elective, so it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah,
but
yeah, exactly. So no travel. And then even if we did, the physicians wouldn't be available because they were lung specialists. They were helping COVID patients.
Right.
So
good point.
Yeah, the company kind of had to go into survival mode. And unfortunately, a good portion of the employees, had to be let go. And, so I really had an opportunity to think. And my husband, he's so...
Pete, you would love him.
Pete. I remember...
I'll put a picture in here of Pete.
Yeah. He's pretty great. He's pretty great. But I remember that day I lost my job, I went home and he was out like tilling up a garden in the backyard, and I went up and I was like, I lost my job, and he didn't even stop what he was doing. He was like, "You're smart," He
obviously wasn't worried about her, which I would not worry about you either.
Yeah, he said, "You're smart. You'll figure it out," and he just kept doing what he was doing. I was like, I wish everybody be like Pete. Nothing phases him, right?
It's so good. That's a great mindset to have. So speaking of mindset, just to be like, well, I want to figure it out. Just it means another opportunity is right around the corner.
Exactly. So. He was like, not even, like I said, didn't even phase him.
Yeah.
So, so and I'm a planner.
Yeah.
I said, okay, so I have to go on unemployment. What am I going to do? So I remembered this book that I had read. I think I told you about it, Jen Siccaro.
Oh, you did tell me.
You're a badass.
Yeah,
how to stop doubting your greatness. And
that's good. That was one of my last questions, so I'm glad we covered that one already.
Okay.
So remember that book, everybody.
I remembered that I had read that book on vacation, maybe 2 years before that. So I was like, I'm going to go get that book, because I remember taking notes.
Yeah.
When I read the book, and it kind of walked me through, when in your life were you most passionate? When did you most enjoy what you were doing?
Yeah.
So I kind of went back to those notes, and the 3 key things that I had written down were helping people, number 1, number 2, training and education, and then number 3 was I love organizing.
Okay.
So I was like, oh man, professional organizer.
Yeah, there you go.
So yeah, that's where the idea came from, or the situation that happened to me, and what kind of led me on that path.
BlueBird Nest, so I suppose now you're like, okay, I'm going to create this company. And what was it, because coming up with your brand, I think, is really crucial. Definitely, of course, getting started, that's always first. But, what made you think of, I'm going to create the BlueBird Nest brand? So what is it about that? I know you told me the story, but I'd love for you to tell.
Yeah, absolutely. I can share that.
Yeah.
Well, you're right. It has to be very meaningful, because your brand is who you are. So I knew it had to be something that would communicate what I did, and also be very meaningful for me, something that I could stand behind. But I love birds. I've always loved birds. If you come to my house, I have kind of little birds all over.
They have a gorgeous garden, gorgeous backyard. But lots of bird home. The feeders. You have the feeders.
Yeah, bird feeders, and I have bird decor.
Yeah.
It's not overboard,
no,
but it's very well done. I want
yes.
people to get the wrong idea.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I love birds, and bluebirds. The bluebird is the universal sign of happiness.
That's neat. I just learned that today from Jennifer.
Making people happy, right? And then then the nest, synonymous with your home, right? And then so bluebird nest organizing.
I love that.
Yeah, making your home happy. So then my tagline for the business is creating happy spaces.
I love that. Yeah.
And
creating
then,
happy spaces.
Yeah, exactly. And then I was also telling you about if you look at a bluebird nest, it's very uniform and very structured, as opposed to like a sparrow's nest, where it's just like all kinds of sticks and mud. And so anyway.
So she helps her clients start with sticks and mud to a beautiful, organized, cozy, homey nest.
Yes.
So
Yep.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I love about what you're doing is you are bringing clarity, on a daily basis. You're helping others find peace and comfort in their homes. So tell me a little bit about your clients when you first see them and how it maybe shifts their mindset or evolve as a person with organizing or decluttering. I always say it's like when you declutter your life,
Yep.
it helps in so many arenas.
Yes,
So,
absolutely. I mean, it's just it can affect your whole entire well-being, right? So
yeah.
oftentimes when I'm first contacted by a client, they've reached some kind of a breaking point, and they call me. Often the first phone calls are very tearful, and they say, I just can't go on living like this, right?
Yeah.
Whatever their situation is, they need help. They need somebody to come in. They just don't know. They're overwhelmed.
Yeah.
They're stressed. They're anxious. The clutter in their home is causing them, loss of sleep, and they're just not functioning at their best, and they don't want to live like that anymore. So they finally reach some kind of a breaking point and reach out for help. And then so once we start working with them, it's like, and then when we arrive, a lot of times it's just, you can see them, they're like, finally, reinforcements are here. I have somebody to kind of help back me on this. And then so, walking them through that process, right? So starting and just training and educating them on basic organizing techniques. A lot of times is something we don't learn basic organizing skills in school. It's something we're not taught, unfortunately. And it's something our parents never even sat down and taught us as well. They would say, go clean your room, but they never came in and told us, exactly how do we do that? Right?
So everything have its own little spot.
I
know I'm very similar to you where that's why I appreciated your desk, because I was like, oh, she's organized, that's how I am. Like, and then when I saw your home, I'm like, oh. So I thrive on that, that's how I'm comfortable that way.
Yes, so I think it just brings comfort, clarity, a sense of calmness. I think when you surround yourself by, just increased amounts of items, and it just is chaotic. We say a lot of times our clients suffer from chaos. I mean, quite literally. But then they also, if you look at chaos as an acronym, it stands for can't have anybody over syndrome. So a lot of people who...
Very true.
You
don't want to bring people into your home. You don't feel ashamed maybe of it, or just... not excited to entertain or even...
Right. No, you're exactly right. And it's just they're ashamed, they're embarrassed. They don't invite people over, which can lead to isolation, which can lead to depression, which can lead to overeating. You know what I mean? So it's all
it's a holistic, and probably the nurse side of you too knows how they all tie together. Your mental, your physical, your spiritual, all of your well-being. Especially starting in the home, because it's where we spend most of our time.
Right, exactly. And it's supposed to be your place of refuge and relaxation, and from the outside world. And the outside world is chaotic enough. And so we should be having a safe, place that we're spending our time in. And if you don't have that, it's just, you were saying, your question, walking them through that, helping them make that transition. When we reach the end of our project, I mean, you can see all along the way
the progression,
and then they're just, they just sometimes they cry again.
A cry of happiness.
Exactly.
Like a weight has lifted, probably.
That's exactly right.
So one thing I got to tell you, and if you get a chance or you're in this area, so we're in Dayton, Minnesota, which I love this little town, by the way, so cute, close to the Mississippi River. If you haven't been, definitely come. Check out the store, and I got a tour today, and I'll make sure to put some pictures or footage. If you watch the YouTube video, check it out. If you're on the podcast, you'll have to go check out the YouTube video. But with that being said, one of the things I love the most is this is all mainly, I mean, you've got some vendors that bring stuff in, but most of this is donated by her clients. So what that says is it tells me that you're doing a great job of really getting them to just purge and get rid of some of this stuff and feel good about it. So you're able to donate some of these profits to... Tell me a little bit more about the Magnus.
Magnus Veterans Foundation is also located here in Dayton as well. My husband and I are both veterans, so that's something very meaningful for our hearts, right?
I love that.
with the whole donation aspect, we wanted to try and keep the donations in the local community and support the local community. So finding some way to help the community, but Magnus Veterans Foundation is an amazing place if you haven't been there. They offer tours, but they're a very holistic veterans organization where they help the whole entire family. I mean, we're veterans. We can go to the VA for healthcare.
Nice.
The nice thing about Magnus is that they'll treat the whole entire family. So if you have a relative, a family member that's served, you can become a member and receive treatment as well.
Awesome.
And they not only focus on your health care, they're very holistic, spiritual, psychological. So they have like a 5-pillar program. They're very holistic in their approach and treating the whole family.
Which is key because everybody's affected so much.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that's great.
Yeah.
So then when you tell your clients that it's going to a good cause, do you feel that makes it easier, or what is it that's that pushing point for them to decide, yep, I'm just going to start getting rid of some of this stuff?
It hasn't been a hard sell at all. I mean, once they know, and people have contacted me because I have a little page on my website that talks about the store and the reason for it, getting donations, finding donations their next happy home where they're going to get used and loved. I mean, once they find out that we're not going to drop their donations off at a big donation center, and we're really going to try hard, to stage like we have.
Yes, it's beautiful. You'll have to see how they all tie in, and she's been able to put we've got a section that's kind of the black and white over here, and you've got a beach theme over here, and you've got just and then you'll have to see the candles. Her husband Pete started a candle company.
Yeah, he does.
They've got goat soap, which I love your Trinity. Say the Trinity name.
Trinity Acres. We have a goat farm in Missouri, and we were trying to come up with a name for the farm. And it stands for Father, Son, and Holy Goats.
Which I love. Holy Goats, get it? The Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
But you've got the Father, Son, and Holy Goats.
Yep, exactly.
That's pretty awesome. Well, good. So now we've gotten to talk a little bit about the business, but I want the guests watching to kind of hear all right, I know that you have a lot on your plate right now, and there's a lot that it takes to start up a business and to keep it going. So what is the mindset that you have to kind of have day to day to just keep this going? Is it a sense of gratitude? What is it that keeps you pushing day to day with your current goal and your ambition with the company?
Wanting to help clients. I mean, I see the impact that it has on them.
That's great.
So it's just having a passion for bringing them out of whatever, helping them walk through whatever situation they're going through, whether they just have too much stuff. Maybe they've lost a family member and need to, make the tough decisions about their loved one's belongings. Maybe they're downsizing. We work with a lot of clients who are downsizing, and it's hard for them because, we work with people who have lived in their homes for, 30, 40, 50 years, and they oftentimes don't want to make that transition. There's
so much memory
but they know they have to, so we try and work with them to walk them through that process to make it as easy and as we can.
Good for you. Okay, I love that. So some of the services, you've got a whole, I'll make sure to attach Jennifer's website, and you have a whole team now too. The other thing that I thought was so inspirational is how quickly you've been able to grow. So not even, within 3 years, started the company, and then this has been a whole year that you've had the resale boutique, which I think is such a great addition. You've got the team now. So what would you say your main services that you support is, that initial kind of the decluttering in general, or do you find that it's kind of a wide range of people downsizing, moving, you name it?
I would say really my niche clients are people who have too many items.
Okay.
Right.
Yep.
So, and mainly residential. We do help businesses. I've contacted by some small businesses, and we'll help them kind of put their office in order.
Yeah. So when you started this, or let's even take it back to your 20s, did you ever picture yourself doing this, or is there anything else that you'd rather be doing, at this point in your life? No.
Okay. Actually, Pete and I were talking this morning on our way home from church and having a conversation about my business. For some reason he asked me, would I rather be doing something else? No, absolutely not. That's just not even a question. I'm just so passionate about this. I think going back to when we first started the podcast and started talking, I was giving you a little bit of my background, how I grew up. So I think I've developed a survivalist mentality or outlook. So I really function like, in short terms. Like then sometimes I'm like the next 15 minutes, right? So
which I think is that's a really important mindset practice, I believe, is being in the present moment. Because sometimes when you look, I mean, it's great. And one of my questions is, where do you see BlueBird Nest organizing in 5 years? But sometimes when you can live 15 minutes to 30 minutes or just in the moment is where you can find that most joy and peace.
Yes.
But
exactly.
I think.
Did I see like when I was 20, you know what I mean? I was always just like the next thing, what's the next, where's my next meal? What's my next task? You know what I mean? And I still carry that with me today. I can be, I'm a very high level, thoughts, and big picture, right? And I don't try and plan out that far. Of course you have to kind of strategically do that for your business, but I don't get caught up in it. I just very short term. The nice thing, you're saying that there's a lot of benefits. I don't worry. I'm not a worrier.
Because it's interesting you're saying that, because I tend to be a worrier, or I've gotten better and better as the years have gone on. I've done a lot of work to be less of a worrier and to live in the moment.
Yeah.
And the more I do that, the more abundance comes into my life, and the more things just work out. Because you start to see there's nothing linear in life, really. Right. It's not like you say, oh, I'm going to do this, this, and this. Sometimes things are very all over the place, but they just fit together like a puzzle piece at some point, and you continue. But I think, too, the puzzle is never fully done. It's always, you're always gathering pieces to kind of continue to put it together and have this masterpiece. So it's kind of like a work of art.
Well, they say the only thing constant is change.
Yes.
So
yes, very true. So you naturally were not a worrier, but if you had, let's say somebody's listening and they tend to be a worrier, what kind of advice would you give them? What is it, the mindset that you've had that's helped? And I think we all are born with different qualities. Some of us, like you and I think we're natural born organizers. I can't tell, because you're right. Like my parents didn't teach me how to organize. Right. And I lived with a family of 6 kids. It was chaos.
Yes.
So my room was pristine.
Right.
And it was because it was my little sanctuary away from all the chaos.
Yes,
but,
exactly.
So maybe
very
it's
similar.
Something we learn.
Yeah.
But if you could give somebody some words of wisdom of what it is to help you live in the present moment, even though it might be a natural thing for you, but thinking outside.
Well, I think I heard one of your other podcasts recently where you were saying it was an evening routine, right?
Yeah.
Winding down for bed, and you're talking about the 3, pick your 3 tasks or for the next day and just focus, and then let the rest go and just go to bed, right?
Yeah.
So, I heard that. So, in the mornings, I list, the 3 big things that I need to accomplish for that day. Yeah. So, if
more of a minimal idea versus like this huge, overwhelming list.
Yes. So, if I had to think of everything that I have to be accomplishing for, running the house and the yard and the organizing business and the resale store. Yeah. And my employees, I would quickly get overwhelmed, right? Yeah. So it's like really try and narrow down your focus to what are the high level big task items that you have to do for that day. Yes. And just, I have a running list of things. Mm-hmm. And if I get to it and I have time and I can tick some of those off, great. Mm-hmm. But, you're just trying not to look at absolutely everything because you will be overwhelmed and you will lose sleep. And
it's true. I was just talking to my mom the other night, and I was like, oh my gosh, the last 2 nights I've woken up at 3:30 in the morning and my brain is just on fire. It's just like, and so I did realize, I'm like, I do need to stop thinking about everything on my plate and just narrow it down, because too, I think you've seen some of the things I've been doing lately with the new real estate and then selling my place and then listing something else, but then I have the real job too. Yeah. So I'm just kind of thinking like, oh my gosh, I felt my heart was just like, I don't think I can do it all. I'm just like, I was really like, oh my gosh. I'm like, do I want to do all this?
Very overwhelming.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's exactly what I had to do is kind of stop, and I just like actually listened to, I was like, oh, I'll just listen to the air conditioner. And I just focused on the sound, and I let my mind kind of calm down and just, be in that present moment and just tell myself, it's all fine. It's all fine. It's all going to work out.
Yes.
And it kind of goes back
Exactly.
to that mindset.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing that's made you successful all these years too, is being able to just trust and let it go.
Yes.
And just take things a day at a time, or
Yep.
15 minutes by 15
Right.
minutes.
Exactly. And knowing, you know, a big thing for me is my faith.
Yeah.
Right? God's got this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's always a good, my mom's saying was, I can do all things through God who strengthens me.
Exactly.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah. So I love that.
Yep.
And I think even if you're not maybe religious out there, it's whatever your sense of that spiritual well-being is.
Yes.
You know, it's like we all have something that we tie to give us that comfort, and you got to lean in on it and know that it's bigger than ourselves.
Yes, exactly.
So, so I think that's crucial. What is it that you do? Because you said you've been so busy. What do you do when you do need to relax? I guess just your me time. What is it that helps you to kind of reset?
I have the uncanny ability. I just shut down.
Do
it's like,
okay, good.
So Pete says I know how to do that better than anybody.
Awesome.
Right?
See, and I think there's a perfect time and place for that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you're like, all right, that's on my list.
Yes.
But I need to shut down.
Yeah.
So you can catch yourself when you need to.
Oh yeah.
You
It's
know?
like, okay, I'm full.
Yep.
I'm done. You know, and I'm just, you know,
Gonna recharge.
Yeah. Walk
Okay.
away.
Good for
And
you.
just even.
Okay, remember that out there, you guys. Shut it down. She even told me, reset your computer, it'll work again, because it wasn't working.
Yeah.
And so and I was like, you know, I haven't rebooted my computer for weeks. Turned it off and it worked. So sometimes we need a reset.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. So what do you do when you reset? You read a book?
I read a book. I'm an avid reader. Right
Yeah.
now I'm reading Napoleon Hill.
Oh, I love that one. Think and Grow Rich.
Yes, exactly.
One of my favorites.
So I'm very positive mindset.
Yep.
Firm believer in that. So I'm reading that one. Danielle Steele is actually my favorite author.
Oh, good, because that allows you just to kind of really dive into
relax.
Who is your inspiration? Who do you look up to? What is it that's kind of helped you to grow as a person?
I definitely my husband.
Oh,
yeah,
good.
I sometimes I feel like I go overboard. You
know,
no,
you don't.
Talking about
that was another thing I loved about you is like when we first met, because I was single then too.
Yeah.
But just I could sense the love you have for him, and vice versa. He adores her. So it's just it's something that I would want in a relationship. Like I want that love and admiration that you have each other and that team. Like I really sense the two of you as a partnership. You have a partnership in it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it wouldn't work any other way.
Yeah.
Because we are so busy. So we're one, you know, we can kind of step in and like try and help the other person out. Right?
Yeah.
No matter what it is.
Yeah. Right? What do you love most about him, or what is it? How does he inspire you?
He's very grounded. Oh, so there's so many things.
There's a lot. So we'll have
things.
Pete on the show one of these days. Yeah.
I think you should.
On the podcast.
That's a good idea. As you know, he's very driven.
Yeah.
He's can accomplish a lot, but with great accuracy, right? But he would help anybody.
Yeah. He's always so happy too. I don't think I've ever not seen him happy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. I mean, he is steady. You know, he doesn't fluctuate. He's just somebody that you can really rely on. But you know what I admire most about him is he's just very grounded in God.
Yeah.
And he is, you know, in his walk is helpful for people. He's patient. He's kind. He's understanding. He's forgiving. You know what I mean? A lot of times, you know, I'm impatient, intolerant, unforgiving. You know, and it's like he's just very, you know, strong. And so I've really learned to. You know, I admire that about him. He emulates, you know, what they say in the Bible, where a lot of people, you know, will go to church, you know, Sundays.
It's like the actions speak louder than words.
Yeah, exactly. Like even you know, I meditate or I read a lot of inspirational books, or, you know, so I can read something, you know, that talks, you know, about how to treat other people or, you know, behavior. And 10 minutes later, I can be, you know, losing my head, you know.
I think that's natural for most of us.
Right.
Could be us women. I always say the sunshine is always there for women. Sometimes there's clouds and rain. I think men, they have a few less hormones than us ladies. You know, they don't have the progesterone and the estrogen.
Yes.
The testosterone. I mean, they have some of that.
True.
But I feel like men naturally can. they do a little better in that, and
Yep.
it's like nice that we can compliment each other.
Right.
So
yeah. So he's got the non-hormonal thing going on for him, but you know, it's just his nature. I see
such a good heart.
Yeah. Well, how he helps people.
Oh,
you know, your car breaks down, he's going to be the one, you know, pulling over to help you. But anyway,
he does it just with, you know, his pure goodness. Yeah, it's not there's no
for anything.
Yeah.
Nothing. Yeah, because a lot of times he does spend a lot of time helping other people, and then he has a big task, you know, and I'm like, why don't you call in, you know, maybe some of those favors, you know. And he has a hard time asking for help, but you know, he believes his purpose in life is helping other people.
That's great. So what do you think your purpose is?
Definitely helping other people, but my purpose is, you know, the organizing, right? I just
do bring that.
Yeah, that I have that passion for. I think people, if they were to walk into a room that you couldn't, like, hardly push the door open or see the floor, would probably, you know, and I'm like, I get excited.
Yeah,
and
I can see that.
Like, you know, where are we gonna start?
Yeah,
you know?
I love it.
Just wherever there's chaos, I just want to try and fit order into it. I don't know if you saw the episode of Friends where the apartment, I think
the closet door one, or is it a different one?
It's the closet, but it's the other one where
I've seen a lot of Friends. I'm sure I have.
Okay.
Keep going.
All right.
I want to hear.
So where I think Ross or somebody was dating a girl that was super.
She had a rat. And there was like, and then she didn't think anything of it. But I bet that's some of the homes you walk into, isn't it?
Right.
Where there's like, he found something else and he's like flinging things on the couch, and it was hilarious. And then and she's like, "Oh, that's just my rat." And then her gerbil or something. Yeah.
And then Monica shows up at the end of the show. Right?
Yes.
So that's me.
Okay. That you are Monica.
Yeah.
You know what? My sisters make fun of me and sometimes it's a good way.
Yeah.
We'll say the Monica thing, that I tend to be a bit of her.
Right.
But I think you've got me beat. I do, which is not a bad thing, because I love me some Monica. I do.
Yeah.
Like, I love her character
I'm
in the
crying
way.
from laughing.
Yeah. No, that's a good good point, and I can see it. So oh, this has been so fun. I mean, I could ask you questions all day long. Well, we'll definitely talk last about how people can get a hold of you, and definitely they need to come visit the store.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I also want, I think I mentioned this to you earlier, for my real estate business, I want to offer Jennifer service for a complimentary that I would give to my client to bring her in to do that initial assessment and see, because I think it is overwhelming when people, especially, I know you help the sellers, if somebody's wanting to transition, as you said, maybe it's downsize or maybe move, you have a whole service that helps to kind of figure out how are we going to get it ready to show, because that's so important. So you're able to help them get organized. And I think not even so much caring about the showing, which helps it sell, so it's very important.
Yes.
But when you can kind of declutter and get rid of things, that makes the move so much easier too.
Right. Or helping them prepare to pack, you know, to do the pre-packing.
Yeah.
You know, any kind of preparation is just going to make their move or transition go that much easier.
So much easier. And then you're almost starting fresh in your new space to kind of get rid of some of the stuff you don't want to bring into the new home.
Yes, exactly.
So it's like kind of just clearing that energy. I think that's really crucial.
Yeah. And we can help after they move, you know, with the unpacking, setting up.
Awesome.
Organizing.
Yeah, because that always is very tedious. So,
yes. Yeah. Helping them settle into their new home faster.
Yeah. Okay, I love it. Okay, this is one of my favorite questions to ask guests. So if there was anything you could do in life, setting money aside didn't matter, you know, and it's like whether you make money or not, you would just do your passion and your dream, what would it be?
Absolutely running a bed and breakfast. Yeah, and
Oh.
I would love to.
You'd be great at that.
Yeah, thank you.
I can see it. You probably do have a name. Well, you don't have to share the name because we don't want anyone to take your idea.
No, I haven't gone as far as like a name or anything, but you know, if I could really do, I mean, aside from what I'm doing now, right? Maybe
I
in
can see
5
you and
years,
Pete running that too.
yeah, 5 years, you'll come back and we'll have the BlueBird nest bed and breakfast.
There you go. Ooh,
Yeah.
that would be nice.
I don't
That
know.
would be very nice. Both of you guys like to cook too. They have a beautiful garden in the back. I know I kind of mentioned that earlier. All right, thank you again. This has been so much fun.
Yeah, great seeing you again.
Yeah, it's been so fun. It's like so many changes since I
Yes.
last saw you. It's
Yeah,
just-
well, who would have thought?
I know.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
So, and I will definitely be back. So, how will my guests get a hold of you? What is the best way?
Yeah, so my cell phone number's out there. That's the best way. I'm a big texter, 763-350-0097.
Perfect. I'll put it in the comments.
And then if they, want about my services, really go to my website.
There's a great list of everything.
Yes,
that we do.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's BlueBirdNestOrganizing.com. And
Perfect.
if they go there, it talks about the store. You can schedule a call, book now, schedule a consult call.
And
you
that's
know,
what I'll
yeah.
book for my clients. If you're going to work with me, I'm happy to book a complimentary to send. Oh, I'm so glad that I know you. I'm so glad you're in my life. So,
right?
yeah. So, thank you again. This was fun. And I know that I will be seeing much more of you. So,
All right.
all right.
Perfect. Yay.
Yay.
Very
Bye.
enjoyable.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks again. Cheers.
All right.